when I was creating it, I was looking for spaces that were dead. And that's the whole reason for it was called cultivation, is these spots, that was actually kind of a scary underpass that people went through all the time. The lights were dim, there was not a lot going on it. And with art, I was able to cultivate that space into a lively, more fun, even a safer, a happier place than this dungeon of a dead space.
Public art is important for a number of reasons, but it really helps create a distinctive sense of place. So when you see a piece of public art, you feel like you're somewhere that you're supposed to be. Public art is important to any community because of instilling a sense of pride in the community.
It preserves the culture of the place where you are. It communicates a message about the place.
And showcasing history, showcasing the future, and really highlighting our culture in our city.
For example, right behind me is Chihuli's tallest tower in the world, and it was one of the first iconic pieces of art in downtown Oklahoma City. Yeah, we had bronzes sprinkled around downtown, but this was a new piece that people knew and could recognize, and once finished, it quickly became a symbol of, I don't know, from anything from the tourism to magazine as this is Oklahoma City.
I think one of the great things about public art is that it's so accessible to everyone, even people that may not be seeking it out.
Like everyone that walks by a mural, they don't necessarily have to have this knowledge base of fine art or be invited to a show. It's for the public in general, and everybody can enjoy that art.
Also, when public art is interactive, it's a great entry point for people to experience art and interact with art.
You don't have to go inside or pay to see it. It's really important, and it also, I think, adds to the cultural richness of a city.
They bring up socio-political questions that a lot of people don't want to actually discuss and talk about, and we have an area to have those conversations in a way that is open and academic, and it's still an environment that is not exclusive.
There's studies that go on about you being in nature and being around beautiful things, and the more you're around those things, the softer your heart is, the happier you are. And you could be having a bad day, and then you see a beautiful mural, and it changes your whole attitude.
It's a sense of collaboration that can only make not only humans better, but our world better.
Public art is important to me personally because it certainly gives me that outlet to share what I've nurtured over the years and to appreciative audience, and that's the most rewarding factor there.
Well, we want to create a place where people want to live, and I think having a high amount of attention to the culture and to the creativity and to the sense of design is very, very important. So whether you're talking about a building or whether you're talking about a piece of public art, I think what people see when they visit your city from a public art standpoint is very, very important, and it's likely to be one of their key takeaways when they go back home.
I mean, some of the most beautiful cities in this country actually are beautiful because of their public art.
When people talk about public art and tourism, they align together. A lot of people travel to places and they may not know people there, but by seeing the art that's located in that place, they learn a lot about the people who are funding it, who are working there. It's something that helps define us as a community.
Let's talk about the biggest art scene in the world, Oklahoma City.
As an Oklahoma City transplant, I'm not a native, but I'm an Oklahoman by choice, is what I like to tell people. Coming downtown, we lived actually downtown when we first moved here 6 years ago, and there was not much going on the weekends. So to see kind of the growth and what's happened in the downtown area just since we've lived here, I think is so important to the city and so important to a vibrant downtown, and public art has so much to do with that.
I grew up in Oklahoma City in a time when there wasn't a ton of public art in our city. I mean, downtown didn't really have a lot while I was growing up, and so now to see a resurgence of murals like in and around the Plaza District and in Midtown and on Western, it's like really exciting.
Society has changed, a whole new generation, but it's coming along just fine with many of the new programs that are coming out today.
It's almost as if when you go to Europe and everywhere you look is something inspiring. It's really fun for me to walk around Oklahoma City and all of the districts and see new things and be inspired.
The tide is turning here where the Chamber of Commerce is beginning to come around. We're seeing a lot more public art murals being installed. We're getting people to feel a sense of civic pride in the creativity that Oklahoma City has.
Recently, on the business and city side of things, they've added a full-time arts liaison to really help bridge the gap between the artists or organizations like ours, nonprofits, and the city permitting process. And then also there's been ordinance changes in some of the language that the different districts use. And so where in Bricktown we used to see that public art could only be historical in nature or provide some sort of cultural significance specific to that district, now they've really expanded it and opened it up to tons of ideas in the community.
There's some kind of weird dynamics here, or perfect chemistry for embracing the arts and really, we're kind of like pioneers on a new frontier here in Oklahoma right now with art.
It's a really special time in Oklahoma City for the arts amidst state cuts and things like that and what may be happening in the school system. I think that a lot of organizations are really pulling out all the stops.
We've got artists working in all kinds of media with multiple kinds of experience, from extremely internationally renowned and well-educated to a lot of kind of scrappy DIY investigative underground artists. Like, I think it's really amazing, the diversity.
But one of the things that I really love the most about our community of artists in Oklahoma City is the support that we show for each other. There's very little of that competition, the feeling of competition amongst artists. It's really more about supporting each other.
You look at the downtown bridges and underpasses. That's a downtown bridge and underpass. Every city has them, right? Well, Oklahoma City has them, but they have them covered in art. And not just art, but really, really good art from local artists across the state. And when you see that type of care and that type of pride put into something as simple as an underpass, I think it speaks to your community. I think it speaks about your community.
Another cool thing is that our city has a 1% for public art ordinance, meaning anything that's constructed above ground, 1% of that construction cost has to go to public art.
It's something we were doing with maps in the 90s, but it has now been placed by resolution in the council into law. And so it is now the standard for MAPS 3 and presumably going forward.
Every day when I hear about something new that's happening, whether it's on a really big scale or small scale, on private property or something really huge that's been commissioned by the city, I just am blown away with how thoughtful artists are and how talented they are and the level of collaboration and how much they support each other.
Well, isn't it cool that the Oklahoma City Museum of Art does things that, of course, they meet an audience that no one else is meeting with the biggest shows and with the famous artists.
Yeah, I think it's great that we have this venue that is bringing in those really big, exceptional shows, and that we have a place to go see those, and that artists can be influenced by seeing that work as well, and to see that kind of play out in the work that the local artists are making is really great.
And I really think that for many people who do appreciate art, like the museum meets them where they are, with very traditional paintings on the wall or with things that kind of fall in line with that. Like without the museum, none of the others may be even possible, because it is art history.
Yeah. And I think even beyond the visual art that they show, their film program has been huge for the film community in Oklahoma City and in Oklahoma, that there is a reputable venue that's screening these films that we're not going to see anywhere else in central Oklahoma.
Yeah. So besides the Oklahoma City Museum of Art, one of my favorite things to do is to walk along Western Avenue and see all the murals. We like to walk our dogs, and it's one of my favorite parts of Oklahoma City, and it's relatively new.
And that's your neighborhood too, so you can just have fun and check out all those little hidden jewels in alleys behind certain walls, and all of a sudden there's a mural.
Yep.
That is one of my favorite things. I am super excited about Plaza District. They really are cranking out a lot of new murals. You can visit every week and there's a new mural there. And how that works, unlike other districts or locations, is that they really have a curatorial team, and that team selects what's going up in these certain spaces. So you can have a dinner at the Mule or lunch and a few beers across the street, and then wander into some alleys. It's not dangerous. It's cool, I promise. And there's something new every visit.
Such an incredible venue for street art that, of course, didn't exist before. And those artists were often relegated to the darkness of night because there was no venue for them to create the kind of work they wanted to create without being punished for it. You're right. And so I love that, artists took the initiative to make that happen. And I know that it was a process to get that through, to get the permitting from the city and everything, that they have now created this precedent that now that they've worked through the system, it makes it easier for other artists who come along behind them. They're really paving a way.
Let's talk about our friends at Current Studio.
Yes. So you and I were both at the
birthday party,
the 1-year birthday party, which was a really interesting exhibition of sort of collaborative projects. They invited artists to do a collaboration that allowed them to create a project that they wouldn't be able to do on their own, which is part of the spirit of Oklahoma Contemporary.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I like how neighborhoody Current Studio is. They're really embracing the neighborhood, but also connecting different artists, bringing them in, engaging with the people who are there, and also trying to just bring different people together to experiment.
Well,
really
that's
exciting.
what I really like about the way the Oklahoma City art scene has evolved. As someone who grew up here, even though elements of the neighborhoods were there, they didn't have that sense of community. It wasn't let's all get together and celebrate what we're doing as a group. It was very much silo based. And so if you look at Paseo and the Plaza and 23rd Street, we've dramatically changed, not even talking about downtown and Automobile Alley and Midtown, the entire way the city is structured almost.
Right. Art has become an engine for economic development, for neighborhood development in a way that I don't know if it was true 20 years ago.
Not at all. Yeah. Going from the museum into a component of contemporary art, like how grateful I am for Oklahoma Contemporary. Yeah. Because they're bringing us amazing work too, but by living artists, and that's significant.
Yeah, to be able to see that work and then often also hear directly from the artists because they're bringing those artists in for talks and programming that goes along with the exhibitions. It's an opportunity that, without them, we may have to travel several hours to do something like that.
Yeah.
In Dallas or at Crystal Bridges.
Kansas City. Yeah. No, I love Oklahoma Contemporary. And the fact that they have such a strong educational component that backs up what they're doing with contemporary artists is great.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's really, if you are an adult wanting to learn an artistic skill outside of an academic institution, it's really one of the best places to go for really consistent, ongoing, high quality arts education.
I completely agree.
Just recently learned of, was it 21C?
21C, yeah.
21C. And that really surprised me when I was contacted to perform there.
I
said, a museum. I said, well, did the museum start a hotel or something? Because I thought it was connected. And lo and behold, it was a whole different thing. And I understand they have It's more of a franchise or
It
something
is.
like that?
It's a small boutique hotel. They have locations throughout the country, and it's curated like a museum. They have a head curator and assistant curator, and they rotate out the collection and put up exhibitions. So it's not like it's just a stagnant show. It's always changing.
We've now got 21C as our new neighbor,
Yeah.
so that's been a lot of fun. We can walk over there and have lunch and also see their incredible collection. So we love having them as a neighbor, and we're gonna be doing more stuff with them, which is exciting.
That's exciting. And they have rotating exhibitions much like we do. Every visit you see something new.
Yeah.
Plus they have a great bar and restaurant.
And don't forget the purple penguins.
The purple penguins, yeah. They just kind of magically appear.
You were mentioning the underground, you spoke of that earlier?
Yeah. So there's a tunnel system below Oklahoma City's downtown area, and it's sort of...
Never been there.
Yeah, I know. Nobody, well, not nobody, but it's not a very well-known place. It's a system of tunnels that goes between a lot of the major buildings downtown, but within the tunnels, they have really interesting lighting displays. So it's sort of like this not so secret underground place that not a lot of people maybe know about.
The places that kind of push the envelope locally in that same capacity. You know, of course, Current Studio is trying to do that, but we're a fledgling organization. We're just in the beginning of our development, whereas there are some standards like Art Space at Untitled and IAO, which have been around for decades and are really trying to expand our experience with art.
Yeah, they have always provided venues for art that we wouldn't see anywhere else, and for local artists to have a place, you know, quality venue where they can go and present their work and have an audience and get that response is incredible. And they have been the kind of I don't know, what would you call it? The flag bearer of like continually trying to encourage artists to push themselves and do something new.
Yeah. Well, of course, you know, in totally different ways too.
Yes.
Like where Art Space at Untitled is this beautiful warehouse space, and how the way in which that space can be developed through either proposal, but also through invitational, and the way in which they've had programming that has pushed collaboration or our experience with art is amazing. But then IAO, like being really one of the only democratic institutions left where you can submit through an open call and be selected based upon your idea, like it's such an important component of our overall health of community.
Are there events that you guys look forward to throughout the year, like special festivals or things that you enjoy doing? Yeah.
Festival of the Arts
thing?
is the huge one for me, and it's something that I've come to as a kid, and to watch it evolve, and artists who started out in small community-minded ways being on that bigger stage, the engagement of having people create art while they're there, combining visual and performing, and it really just draws so many more people.
I love having it right in front of the Civic Center, right in front of the museum.
And that's where it started. It moved away and came back to its roots. It is kind of a problem for me because I tend to eat lunch there every day. But it's one of the biggest arts festivals, and its timing is perfect. And they bring in international artists from all over the world, and it's a pretty intense competition process to get in. And plus all the live music and great fun, just right out our front doors at work.
Yep. Yeah, I think the Downtown Arts Festival, for a lot of people, it's their one like real arts experience that they have every year, because it's free to attend. It's so family friendly. It happens at a time of year when you want to be outside and go doing things. The food component, of course, is a big draw. But I love that it provides a kind of a well-rounded arts experience that's free to anyone. And hundreds of thousands of people come and experience visual art, music, performance, food, everything.
Well, and I love, in addition to the one-off annual events, that there are so many things that happen regularly. You've got Second Friday art walks, both in Norman and on the Plaza. You have Paseo on the first Friday, and so really, H&H, when that gets back up, you have all of these engagements that on a monthly basis, I can go out and experience art for free, which is big, and wander in and be with other people in the community who are sort of like-minded.
What else is going on?
Well, I live walking distance from the Paseo, and I know that they are not new anymore, but they're still one of my favorite neighborhoods in Oklahoma City, and to be able to walk there for their first Fridays it's still one of my favorite things to do. It's something I've done since I moved here, and while there's all sorts of new fun things going on, we can't forget our tried and true Paseo First Friday Art Walk.
It's true. It's Oklahoma City's first arts district.
I'm amazed I live in the Paseo, and every first Friday, the mobs descend. I mean, it's amazing to see the amount of support. You know, hundreds of thousands of people come out every time, which is it's great. We're beginning to get that culture of go out, support local arts, support local artists, see what's happening. And I think that's across the spectrum, like you said. It's not just the visual arts. We're seeing it with film, we're seeing it with music, with performance dance and theater, so all very cool.
Well, the stature has changed so much that this is just part of what you do for entertainment in Oklahoma City.
But you know, one thing I really like seeing that's happening around here is the movie industry.
Yeah.
I really like that. It's more and more enterprising, more diverse.
This may not be related, but all of our new music venues that are popping up all over Oklahoma City. And so it's not a massive arena concert. It's bringing in the ones that I really love that are a little smaller, a little more intimate, but it's bringing in new acts and new talent that probably wouldn't have stopped in Oklahoma City earlier without these new venues.
Really, every weekend, often it's not that there's one thing to do.
There's
You have to choose between and decide, you know, where you're going to spend your time, which is great. I mean, that's a sign of a vibrant cultural scene.
Art Moves is an initiative from Arts Council Oklahoma City that seeks to bring arts and music downtown.
It provides an outlet for people to experience and see art in the context of their day-to-day life within downtown Oklahoma City.
In the same way that public art can really kind of surprise you, and sometimes you find it in unexpected places and it makes you see that place in a whole different way, Art Moves does the same thing.
And it's a really great way for people to see art in action without necessarily going out specifically to an art event.
You know, and it provides a different kind of noise to the downtown. You know, like whether you're near a construction site downtown or a lot of corporate buildings where there's no noise, you can go to an Art Moves site and you can find something stimulating and exceptional.
It could be an artist really creating something new on site that the downtown public, those on their lunch break, can engage in. It's casual, and so you just maybe hop to the museum and you see someone making something or performing something.
You might be downtown and then you see someone who's playing the saxophone and playing the piano. It's an unexpected quality that makes it really special.
A lot of musicians who would have never had a voice locally to be heard. It introduces us, we as musicians as a whole, to the community, gives them the opportunity to hear us and learn about who we are, and gives us a chance to explore as well.
I think it makes a huge impact on your day, just as an individual, but it also makes you, stop and notice things that maybe you wouldn't notice before.
What they were able to do was take art from a very traditional place like a museum or an art gallery, and to take that and transplant it into the middle of a place where people are working, and just that working environment, and to try and offset that environment to get the attention of those people and make them more aware of it, to where it brightens their day, it increases their quality of life, and it inspires them to want to seek out more, hopefully support more of it.
But it also employs working artists, and we have about 300 different artists on our roster. That ranges everything from dance to music to performance art. We've got poets, we've got really any kind of art form you can imagine.
Downtown Oklahoma City Incorporated made a decision a couple of years ago to really make public art and placemaking a priority. I think public art was just a natural flow, the next level, basically, of things that we can contribute as a nonprofit to the betterment of downtown.
I'm Stephen Grounds, and I'm Navajo Uchee Creek and Seminole. I'm a muralist and a painter.
I'm Nicole Hatfield, and I am Comanche and Kiowa, and I am also a painter and a beginner muralist. Myself and my friend Stephen Grounds decided that we would try to apply for it, and we kind of came together and discussed ideas, and we came up with one, and we just went from there.
It has a specific concept, which is the empowerment, but it also has a stylistic approach that's very street. So I think that's what we were trying to accomplish with this mural.
Speaking for myself and most of my work, I try to bring awareness to different Native issues and especially women's issues. This whole mural is kind of based off of a poem by John Trudell, a Native activist. And when I read the poem, I thought, wow, this is perfect. It's about women, it's about respecting women, and just empowering women. And so it just really based on that poem for myself, it really inspired this mural.
The first in what I would hope to be many more murals that are Native American based here in the city.
My name's Dusty Gilpin, and I'm a mural painter. I have a retail shop in Oklahoma City called Tree and Leaf, and paint murals, and I screen print and do art and have fun. So this mural is a part of the Artist Invitational with Downtown Oklahoma City. Last year they put out like a call to artists, and I made an application and a proposal for this piece, which would be thunder inspired. We just thought that if we did something around the playoffs, we could kind of garner some positive energy from the city, and there were some complications with where it was going to be, but we ended up like figuring out a way that we could put it on the basketball courts and kind of draw everything together. They gave me a lot of artistic creativity or artistic freedom with what I got to paint, which was fun. So I got to do the Russell Westbrook and the Steven Adams, and it turned out really fun.
My name is Leigh Martin, and I'm a fiber artist and nature enthusiast living in Oklahoma City. So Contained Aesthetics is the title of this installation, and it was a proposal that I submitted to Downtown OKC Inc. As part of their Artist Invitational program. Basically, I kind of got the idea for this just thinking about urban vegetation and how resilient it is, but how easy it is to overlook a lot of the time. You can walk around downtown and see vines like this. This is a trumpet creeper vine. And I had a lot of help from volunteers on knitting the leaves for this. Had several knitters within Oklahoma City and Tulsa and Lawton that contributed leaves for it, which really helped me as far as making this a bigger installation. And then I would take them and attach them to the stems. They're reinforced with wire, and the installation itself was placed over a span of 8 weeks. Since this is kind of across from Marriott Gardens, they had come over to the reception that we had with Downtown OKC and donated this awesome plant placard for the installation. So it kind of matches the labels for the plant material that they have over in the gardens with the name of the installation and everything. So that was a great extension.
My name is Amanda Zoey, and I'm an artist and jewelry maker in Oklahoma City. So I went on my very first ride on the water taxis, and it was really awesome. I was thinking about the whole time how you kind of have a captive audience on the canal. If you put art on the canal, you kind of have a way to have this public art exhibit that people can be taken to on a boat. The Wild Unlimited was a project sponsored by Downtown OKC Inc. and I was going through a lot of turmoil in my life, and so the piece is a lot about life, death, and rebirth cycles and the animal symbolism attached to that.
The biggest question I would like to ask artists is, how would you improve downtown through art?
The Artist Invitational is really important because there aren't a lot of organizations or projects in downtown for artists that have a really substantial budget.
And it's basically like a grant that allows different artists to make proposals for public arts in Oklahoma City.
It's a great program. Downtown OKC is provided to local artists for creating public art, having the funding to do it, and kind of helping with the process as far as getting permits and things like that. I guess probably a lot of people think about murals whenever they're thinking about public art, and this installation, I was hesitant to apply because it was such a small project, but I'm glad that I did because it's been a great experience.
So we would love to see artists to think outside of the box. It doesn't just have to be a mural on a wall, which if that happens, that's great too, but they could solve a million urban issues with their creativity, and we would love to see suggestions like that come across our plate.
I'm Robbie Kenzel. I'm the Arts Liaison and Program Planner for the City of Oklahoma City. So a lot of the mural ordinances define that it's a work of art that's either painted directly on a wall or a structure, or applied directly to a wall or structure, or anything that would contain property like a fence. And that it would be a work that doesn't advertise anything, it doesn't violate any trademarks, licenses, copyrights, and it's the work of an artist.
Once you have a property owner on board or a business owner, the rest is fairly easy. The best contact you can make is the arts liaison in the City of Oklahoma City.
So the process that you would go through to undertake a mural would be to get a permit. So depending on where you want to locate the mural in the city, that kind of defines the process you would go through. All murals are reviewed by the Arts Commission. They're the advisory body for the entire city on artwork that goes up in the public sector. And then if you're in a design review district, you have to additionally go through design review. And then ultimately those two would then lead you to a permit.
I hear a lot of people they have some resentment against the system or the so-called bureaucracy of it. But I've found that what it does is it secures, the arts, and it makes sure that the art is produced and put on display in a quality fashion, which in the end can only work for us as artists.
The permitting process is important for a number of reasons, but really the most important is the community buy-in that happens from it. There's arts commissioners who are appointed by the mayor who then get to have their buy-in in the project on top of the design reviews, in addition to the property owners. So that is incredibly important for a piece of public art that's growing up. And then it protects the artists, it protects their rights, whether or not there's a maintenance plan in place so that we can make sure that the art stays around and sees the best light it can possibly see while it's up.
We go through all these hoops and talk to the city and plan them and all this stuff, and most people don't even understand what all goes into it. They just one day see there's a big mural up there. So I want to give a big props to a lot of people in Oklahoma City that are putting up all these murals and investing in these murals to happen, because it's not an easy process.
So what would an artist do to go through the reviews? An artist would prepare an application. There's an application packet online that shows an aerial view of the site with the measurements of the wall where the mural would go. Also an elevation that shows what the mural might look like on that wall. The artist makes a statement. There might be a title of the work and a statement of what that artwork means. It's a very important part of the education and engagement of the public when they see the work. And the artist's bio. One of the things we want to make sure is that, an artist that maybe is only used to doing small gallery work isn't going to undertake a mural that might be 25 feet by 50 feet, and they might not be ready. We want to make sure artists have experience to carry out large-scale works. Who would insure the artist while they're working on the site in case they got hurt? Is there any property insurance if the work got vandalized, and who would be paying for that? And then also information about an art marker, and that would be up to 10% of the area of any mural can be used for the title of the work, the artist's name, the sponsor of the work, and a statement about it. So when somebody sees the work, they can understand what it means.
Have a good plan. A plan helps, and if your plan is executed well, it will be received by the review boards and the city, and it will expedite your process a lot faster.
The shape of the building, to me, lent itself to something sprawling across it. The first thing I saw when I saw the shape of the building when it was blank was vines. But my girlfriend, especially at the time, was very into octopuses, they're kind of a fascinating animal that I've learned about since I've done this. And it just kind of clicked, those two things clicked, and this is all I saw after I came up with the design. I never saw or considered anything else besides an octopus.
I use my phone as a tool in everything that I do, every piece that I create, no matter how big or small. And as I'm creating it, especially a mural, a lot of people are going to see these pieces of art via a photograph on social media. And so it's important that not only does this thing look cool in person, but it also has to look cool in the photograph.
The greatest challenge was taking the scope out of it. I needed to make it more intimate because there's no way to stand in front of something this big and see it. It's like standing in front of a pointillism painting or something. It just doesn't work. And so I needed to make it intimate, and that was a challenge, and I couldn't figure out how to do that until I figured out putting these symbols into the freckles allows a viewer to stand in front of the piece and, I hope, look at a painting while they're looking at the painting. And once I figured that out, it was just the biggest challenge after I solved that one was just testing my own work ethic.
Let's say that the public art is going to go with a building, but an artist might look at the entire block around the building and see how are people going to move to this site? Are they going to walk? Are they going to bicycle? Or are they going to drive by? At what speed? What are their views? They might take a lot of pictures at a site to see what the views. They're making something very site specific.
If I had my choice, I like public art on buildings that looks like it's painted on a building rather than painting the building. Like the color of this to me lent itself to a canvas pretty well, and I wanted it to look like this octopus was on the building rather than I used the building to make a painting of an octopus. So it had some unique sort of features that I tried to incorporate, like I made one of the overhead lights, one of his eyeballs, and I wrapped a tentacle around the OG&E pipe. And
I know that when I was younger, I had the gumption, the ambition to take on a giant project or to paint a mural, but I don't think I would have had what it took to really carry through in a quality fashion. So, I'd say first and foremost, do your preliminary research. Go take a mural painting class that the city offers, and become informed about what it is you can do and how to go about making that happen logistically. And then, just being realistic about it.
The other advice is just to be patient. It takes a little while to work through all the kinks with weather in Oklahoma, time periods. It's not something that happens overnight.
My advice to different artists or artists that are trying to get into public art is, first, draw all the time or paint all the time or whatever it is that you're into. Do that all the time. And then be professional. There's a lot of artists that are not professional, that don't do stuff on time. They don't fill out proposals right. They don't, double check their spelling on things. Be professional, and that will make you look it'll make you stand out.
Have a website that has professional quality photographs on it that will allow me to find you and see your work and contact you. I say that to artists in New York, and I say that to artists in Oklahoma. If you're not out there and easy to find, I can't bring your amazing art to my exhibitions.
Having been a business owner and also an artist, just be on time, be a person of your word, and pay your people. That's all you need to do in order to be a success in anything in life.
When you break rules or when you do things through improper channels, that really hurts everybody within the community. So professionalism really kind of becomes a really highly important component of a career.
I encourage artists to think about themselves as advocates for their own field. I think oftentimes artists are surprised people don't understand what they do, but artists need to know that every sector has to explain what they do and show again and again how it's valuable.
To be a good steward to the arts and the forward movement of art, we need to really hook people up and really do it right, and not have high expectations or always demand a lot of money or this or that. We just need to do it because that's what we're here to do.
As an artist and a curator, in trying to realize big ideas that I have of my own has been collaboration. It's been key to the things that I've accomplished in my career. Collaboration has been key to them.
Tap into the networking opportunities, the gallery openings, the talkbacks of performances, really try to invest and especially for artists who are working in a particular discipline, say photography or dance, try to go out there and meet some other artists who are working in a different discipline. See if there's an opportunity for collaboration.
It's very easy to complain, but it's much more productive to take action. And passively complaining isn't going to get you anywhere. I think that the most important thing to do is to always be doing whatever you can to move forward.
You've got an idea and you believe in it and you think you've got the talent to express it. If you want a show, ask for one. Walk into a gallery and ask. If you want a mural, ask for one. If you want to project light onto a building, just go do it. I mean, this town right now will help you realize what you're working for.
Or don't complain about being broke all the time if you're not willing to like find, you know, some avenues to get your art out there. There's definitely places where you can get involved.
Put yourself out there, expose your art to the business community, ask them to buy your art. Don't ever be afraid to ask them to do that. Your art has value, you know, your creative talent has value. Don't short sell it.
I think artists should always be pushing boundaries and helping push boundaries for other people who push the boundaries. So just inspiring public art by creating your own art.
I'd say the biggest thing is to take risks and don't be afraid to try something new. I think we can limit ourselves as artists. I know that I'm an artist, and if you don't take risks and do something different, you'll never know. And go outside of your comfort zone and continue to challenge yourself, be a lifelong learner, always do something different.
If you have a dream and a goal in your heart, don't become deterred by other people's ideas and plans for how your life should unfold. I mean, surround yourself with wise people, take their advice with a grain of salt, but ultimately you know what's right and what you need to do.
Don't limit yourself on what you think can happen because a permit is in place or not. We've seen lots of examples where artists came to us with ideas that didn't exist in the permitting world yet. And so just with working with the city of Oklahoma City on projects like that, new processes have been formed.
There is no worst case scenario for trying something as an artist. If it doesn't work, you get a pass because you're an artist and at least you tried. And I just wish more young artists knew that. Just do it. There's no safety net needed. Nothing's gonna happen to you.
The lifespan of public art is typically short, and as an individual, as a mural painter, I kind of think that's fun. That's part of it. Things go up and the sun's gonna bleach them, or somebody's gonna paint over it, or it's gonna, like this one, the wind's gonna blow it down eventually. And it kind of gives a time, I mean, it's important because it's short-lived, you know? Like people will drive by and see this for maybe 6 months, 8 months, and then it's gonna be gone. And, you know, I hope they kind of miss it. I hope that it's like a sweet thing that they get in the time. And
I've never looked at it as a permanent thing. I've always looked at it as, it's almost like an action. It happens, it'll be up for a while, and then I expect it to deteriorate or to be changed or to be added to.
Well, so with this project, I went into it with the expectation that it would, you know, degrade over time. And being outside, I did, you know, choose materials such as acrylic yarn that would weather a little bit better.
I feel like rejection is sort of part of being an artist, and so if you can't deal with that, you shouldn't be an artist. Knowing that your art is not going to be permanent anywhere, I mean, you just kind of have to have that inner strength to just know that's just it's part of being an artist, you know? Stuff comes and goes, you might never catch on. Your stuff might become, especially if you're a mural artist, it might become defaced or painted over at some point, and you just have to think of it as, you know, my contribution was when I did that project, you know, and I'm gonna continue to do more work.
So science and art, they are very closely related. They have this intrinsic relationship. And to show how art influenced science and science influenced art is what I'm trying to show with the Smart Space Gallery. It brings lots of new ideas. Science brings lots of new ideas into the arts and shows the creative side of science. And you can see that in the galleries here at Smart Space. Soul expression art of the shoe was something that came to me a little while back, and I wanted to show how engineering, math, creativity, draftsmanship all relate, when building something that we wear every day of our lives that we never really think about. It's something that we all have, but we just don't really put much thought into it. And so I did take a bunch of local artists and asked them to show me their relationship with the shoe and create an artistic piece behind that.
I remember after the bombing of the Mohr building, sitting and watching television, and for months afterwards, there were people who were writing poetry. There were people writing songs. There were people doing paintings and sculpture, and they were dropping them off at all of the TV stations. And it was like people reach inside themselves in crisis, and it's always the creative that comes out, and that is the healing part. And so it's there, and we just need to bring it out.
I mean, honestly, my favorite place in the city is to go to the memorial, which I know is really difficult, but it is an important part of our state history, and it's really beautiful.
I will never forget watching there and thinking, oh my gosh, people are just reaching inside themselves to create these things because that's how they deal with tragedy.
The arts are incredibly important to attracting people to a community and keeping people in a community. And one of the things we've studied is the economic effect of bringing visitors to our community. Arts and culture is one of those industries, unlike a lot of others, that really bring new audiences. In Oklahoma, that's led to more than 12.7 million visits in 2015. We were blown away by the numbers, and I think that shows how our economies benefit from arts and culture.
Almost every example of public art that I can think of off the top of my head has had an impact on its neighborhood, the business that it's in front of. Skyline Timeline was at the Oklahoma City University School of Law, and they haven't been in the downtown area for very many years, and so that really drew attention to that school and that district and that area of town just by installing a piece of public art there.
Investment in local art is not just the responsibility of nonprofit organizations. I think that the business sector needs to take the initiative to invest in public art projects.
Taking a look at hiring artists or musicians or performers that do stuff that's maybe not as expected as what you have here, and sort of investing in art and music as a whole rather than just sort of individual groups or genres.
I think a piece of public art, like inside a business, really can change the dynamic of the atmosphere in that business. Your customers are going to come in and see this whatever big piece of art or this canvas or a sculpture outside your business, and it is going to set a tone for what your business is. I think it shows that your business is involved in the community and that it's willing to support the arts, and I think that that is important to a lot of people, and a lot of people choose to shop and patronize businesses that support the arts.
If every business went and got their local music for their marketing or commercials or whatever their need may be from local musicians and licensed directly, that's a six-figure shift in marketing dollars overnight. What does that do to an arts community in a city? It's transformative.
Art is important to the underground because a lot of people walk down here during business hours, and it's a good way to expose them to public art and culture, what them youngins are up to and whatnot. It just makes for a great experience for everybody, and any space that people use, it's great to improve them and make it more comfortable, make it feel more like home.
Advice for strengthening and growing the city's art movement. That's a great question. I think really it's all about spreading the gospel of art. And I talk to people every day who might say, I don't really like contemporary art, it's not really for me. I really like playing the banjo, and I sing in my church choir, and I make collages out of photographs, but art's not for me. So I think expanding the understanding of what art and creative practice is, and getting people to realize that no matter who they are or what they do, they're engaging with art probably every day of their lives, and letting them know that it's a big tent community here. I think most of the artists in Oklahoma City, like the other civic leaders, are really interested in collaboration and outreach and listening to what people's interests are and what they think is important.
I think more people need to be involved besides just the artists. I feel like a lot of artists around town feel as though it's just them trying to support each other and not enough people from outside the small circle giving that kind of support. So going to shows, supporting crowdfunding.
Understanding that if they go to a place like the Plaza District and they buy from a local business and they're buying a good or a shirt that was created here locally through local artists at a local print shop, that dollar that they're spending is doing far more than walking into a large box retail store and buying some shirt that you can buy in any city in the United States of America.
Even things like arts education are so important because they fill very large gaps in places where we have no other solutions. Whether it's developing leadership skills in kids or helping them define who they are so they can feel better about themselves. And also, it's just very stimulating for souls to have arts.
I think one of the ways in which the art scene can continue to grow is to have more paying opportunities for artists. Right now, there are some organizations that do a really great job of supporting individual artists, whether it's visual or performing or music.
I'd love to see more artists, thinking bigger about their work and not limiting themselves based on what they've been able to accomplish in the past.
One thing I would love to see more of is people venturing out of Oklahoma City to see what else is going on around the country.
We are a growing art scene. We may not be as big as some of the coastal cities, but we've continued to grow. And as Oklahoma City creates more spaces, we're continuing to see more kinds of art.
I think at the same time as the city finds ways to incorporate form and function public art into their everyday expenditures. So when we talk about a bike rack, does it have to just be a bike rack made out of metal? Can it be something more artistic and have more form to it?
Maybe it's responding to a specific issue, like maybe a neighborhood is especially dark and that causes a spike in crime. If there were an illuminated sculpture in that place, would that make a difference?
Artists just keep going. Keep doing what you do. Oklahoma City is ripe as an art scene ready to explode.
Believe that you have something that's worthy to be heard or has viability, and just continue what you're doing. Just stay on a path.
It's easy to look at people and think, oh wow, this person's just top shelf and really knows what they're doing. Well, they got to that point with lots of hard work and just doing it constantly.
But the important thing is to keep the creativity coming. Keep these young, highly educated 20-somethings who have something to give to our community, something to relate to when they're in our community.
I would very much like the art in Oklahoma City to be an attraction for people to come here, not tourism for when they come here. I don't think people go to New York to look at pictures of the Empire State Building. I think they go to New York to find new experiences, and I want Oklahoma to be that.
Oklahoma City's art scene is very exciting because there's a tremendous amount of energy. There's a great amount of community. People are excited about helping each other out, about lifting everyone up together, which I really like. And I see change happening, and I see people getting excited about doing projects, new initiatives, making the art scene more expansive and inclusive. And when people really want to do that, as they do here in Oklahoma City, they make it happen.
It's extremely exciting to be a part of it right now, and I think of any time in the city or the state's history, now's the time to be engaging with art in Oklahoma City. Now's the time to be an artist. Calling all artists, all art lovers, now's the time to jump in.
I'm ready to see those things happen. I'm not willing to move away and let someone else make it happen. I think the more important thing to do is to stay here and create a space.
There's a lot of difficulty right now in funding the arts and supporting the arts, and it's time to all lean in because it's something that we never want to lose. It definitely is a public voice and a perspective that artists have, and they see the world differently.
I think if I were to pick out a couple of examples of public art in Oklahoma City, I think you would start with the Skydance Bridge. I don't know that very many pieces of public art have more viewers or participants than that because of all the cars that go down Interstate 40. And what I like about it is that, many of these people aren't stopping in Oklahoma City. They're driving from Amarillo or Albuquerque and they're going to Little Rock or Raleigh. But when they passed through Oklahoma City, they saw something astonishing. Perhaps the most memorable thing on I-40 from coast to coast is the Skydance Bridge. And I want them to leave Oklahoma City with a positive impression, even if they didn't stop this time, because they might stop next time.
So I'm going to ask you a quick question. Have you participated in art moves or familiar with art moves?
Oh, yes, I did. And they never asked me back. Okay, so Dylan and I did a collaborative piece, and we were, we do weird art, okay? And so we were just spontaneously creating this piece in a food court. And we put green purple stuff coming out of the mouth of this woman. And I guess that was a little too much for the people eating. They never asked us back. So it's kind of funny, not funny, but I was like wondering after a couple years, like they never asked us back. I was like, I wonder if it's because we made that piece and they were like, why did they create a girl throwing up during a, but I mean, if you want people to create live art, that's sometimes what happens.
I gotta restart that one. Okay. I can't encourage. Okay.
Art Moves is an initiative. Initiative.
Can we do that over?
Yes.
So that was my zinger because I didn't know what you had me. Okay, let me think here.
Shop at local businesses, go to Tree and Leaf, support the Plaza District.
I'm gonna restart that one over.
Go ahead, no.
I'm so sorry. I just keep getting tripped up here.
Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on.
Oh.
Can I start that one over because I didn't really say?
I need to stop saying so. I didn't mean to sound better.
Let's start this one over again.
Wait a minute, that's one of those moments. Hold on, let me think about it a minute.
No problem. It's like I got time.
I can think and dream of this all day long, but now I'm saying it.
And I lost it.
I think I got something.
Yeah, I had one other thought and it was so good too.
I don't know what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's just really artworks, it's fluff, you don't need it. I have to make it, I have to create it. I don't have any other option. It's something I have to do. It's like some people write, some people run, do yoga, all those things. This is an outlet for me.